Hey there, and welcome back. We've got war number 2 of season 30. This was a tricky matchup going up against a typically top 10 alliance, X-K9. So we knew that we had our work cut out for us. I got assigned 7 fights, so it was a little bit above my average and a pretty fun war for me. First time I got to do some serious Warlock fights for sure. So this first matchup, I'm on lane 6A, which has the first fight has Aggression, Fury, and Strike Back. And originally I was assigned Moleman, and as you might suspect, I asked if I could switch in Elsa, and it had less to do with this fight and more to do with node 39, which I take a little bit later. They put Void there again, and I've taken that fight so many times on that ebb and flow intercept node with Elsa that I kind of worked backwards and said I definitely want her there, and then I looked at the other fights that required a skill champion, and I was like, yeah, she can do those too. So the difference between Moleman and Elsa for this first Mr. Negative is kind of the approach. Moleman can certainly take the fight. He has the ability to shrug off the deliriums if you get them, so you are able to kind of like parry heavy if you need to. The thing with Moleman that I didn't like as much as Elsa, however, is that if the fight gets a little out of hand, like let's say you accidentally go into frenzy and he starts being passive and building furies, the way that Moleman gets his free openings is by taking a blocked hit, and a blocked hit with like 4 or 5 aggression furies is gonna hurt pretty bad. Whereas if he starts getting really passive, Elsa has the ability to just do her well-timed block and get a free opening that way that takes 0 damage. So that's another reason that I like Elsa's ability to do the counter evade, because it really, in a situation like that, can just create a free opening. And also it's the way I'm going to start the fight, is just with a well-timed block, free opening. When you fight Mr. Negative, you generally don't want to be parrying him because it gives him light energy. And we'll start the clip right about now, and I think you'll see what I mean. So I will say, as we get going on this war, that I did lose a little bit of footage. So as we continue into this video, I had to kind of improvise to give you some footage of what the fights looked like. And also there is a bonus boss fight at the end. One of our summoners in our battle group recently ranked 3'd his Symbiote Supreme. So it's a really cool fight at the end. So like I said, we start this fight off with a well-timed block, which is a free opening. It doesn't give him any light energy, and then we're able to just block bait heavies, which are very easy to do, and that's going to kind of keep the fight under control and make sure that he doesn't build too many aggression furies. In my duels, I practice this evade of the special 1, so we do get a perfect evade there, and then I have my well-timed block off cooldown right at the right time. So as you can see, this is really smooth because, you know, right when you need that well-timed block counter evade to come back, it usually does. Same thing right there. He had 3 aggression furies on him, but I'm able to create that opening without taking any block damage and just get right back in. The other thing about this fight that you should note is you often see me use Elsa on path 4. And by the way, I did throw that special, which gave him strike back, but you know, I knew it wouldn't push him beyond 2 bars, and it was totally fine. But what I was going to say is, you saw right there Elsa without any enhancements from the node, right? On path 4, she gets a fury, which inflates her damage, but there's nothing on that node that inflated her damage. That is just like raw out of the gate Elsa, which I think is pretty cool, that like she really does have a lot of damage, more than people give her credit for. So what you're going to see here is that even though Captain Marvel movie has high ground, there really is not a place on the map that Doom can't just destroy her. So I let the shocks tick her down a little bit while the high ground timer is still going slowly. And at this point, I realized that just a special 2 is going to kill her. And there we go, 20 seconds and down. Any Mystic that has energy damage, especially Dr. Doom, who has the shocks ticking away, each little tick is going to just eat away at her health. And like I said, maybe like hazard shift CMM or something, but in general, there's not a place on the map that Doom or probably even Claire can't just destroy her. So this is one of my first serious Warlock fights. He's one of my newer rank 3s. This is the node that has, how do you say, you can't punish their heavy. So a champ like Havok is a good placement here, because if he decides to keep throwing heavies at you, or just medium, and you can't reparry, you're going to get in trouble. But he played right into my hand at the beginning. You can see there, medium, heavy. If he did that a lot, I would be in a little bit of trouble. But fortunately, the AI was behaving more than I thought it would. Usually you duel this fight and you are like, oh, my reparries are totally on point, and then you go into war and all he does is medium back to back, and you kind of get screwed. But so far there's been no issues here. He's really been playing very well. So, you know, I did practice in my duels, like what would happen if I get cornered, things like that. As you can see here, he's throwing heavy, so he's being a little bad right now. This is the thing that can happen that can kind of screw you over on the node. But again, he kind of plays into it. The other thing going on with this node is power alternator, so it's going to be a little difficult for me to get to my special 2, which is why I just threw the special 1 there, because I knew I was going to lose my power eventually. So yeah, nothing really to that if the AI plays ball, but there is a situation where you can kind of get screwed. All right, so coming up next, a little bit of a mishap on my part. My phone was getting pretty heavy on storage, and I recorded 4 fights in a row. They were awesome fights. They went really well. I was looking forward to sharing them with you. And then I looked on my phone, and the 2 recordings that split up those 4 fights were only 2 seconds long, which to me means my phone was running out of storage, and it only saved like the last couple seconds of each clip. So you can see this is sort of a still from those videos. I took 2 fights, and then I was waiting at that Annihilus, and then I moved on. And, you know, I will show a quick clip at the end of this that, you know, I did get the fights done. I only used 1 item, 1 potion. But I did want to kind of tell you about these fights, because I think there's a lot to learn about them, and I certainly prepared for them pretty well. So what I'm going to do is show you some duels that I did to kind of replicate the fight after the fact. And then we're also going to look at some footage from previous war seasons where I took the exact fights with Elsa, just so that we sort of have like an archival reference of this war, because it was a cool war and one that I wanted to showcase some stuff. So we're going to start off with node 25, Domino. This used to be a really scary placement when Untouchables was part of the kit. Meaning that if you accidentally got evaded, she would gain power. But I'm going to start the clip in the background. This is just a duel with my unawakened Domino. Warlock is obviously great here because techs do not get unlucky. Additionally, all of his abilities have a 100% chance to proc, so he's really not going to crit fail that often, if at all. And he has the perfect dash back where you can just light intercept, sidestep like that, which means you never really have to take hits for the kinetic transference. And then when you bait out the specials, you just have to kind of wait it out a little bit until the footloose timer, which you don't see here, but I'm pretending is there, runs out. So that was basically how the fight went. I did get cornered at one point, which I think I threw into the duel as well by accident, which can happen. You can get a little screwed, but I think in the fight I had a special 3 ready, and I just threw that to kind of reset the fight and then finished it. But it went really smoothly. I do think Warlock is the best counter there, and hopefully I get to take that fight again in the future. And then next up, we have Spam on 4B, the first node, which has steady build-up unblockable and short burst lockdown. This was the fight that they wanted me to use Moleman for the most because of his true accuracy. But the thing about Spam is that you can basically prevent him from ever evading, and the trick is to throw your special 1 as soon as you get it. So like as soon as you see green, fire it, because when that happens, he won't build spider nonsense. Spider nonsense getting too high is what activates his ability to evade, and someone like Elsa is just going to be passively shrugging all of these debuffs the entire time. So you just bait his special 1, you throw your special 1 right away, and he's going to go down very quickly. The fight after that was Annihilus, and I used Dr. Doom for that. I used a power back or a power start 1 boost for this, because then you just get like a free nullify right off the right out of the gate, which makes him basically like Symbiote Supreme or Claire. Like he just starts with the rod nullified, and then you can just go to town. The only dangerous part of the node is if you're trying to set up Doom and something weird happens at the beginning and all of a sudden you have a bunch of stifles on you, and then he's permanently unblockable, which we don't want. But I do want to quickly show in this clip that's about to start in the background that the way you play Annihilus with Doom if you don't have an advanced power boost is kind of like with the Warlock fight. You can do a sidestep to connect a light, and then if you throw a medium in the middle of your combo, then you're able to connect a heavy and get a stagger. And then if you're careful and you only take one blocked hit to get one stifle on you, as soon as you dash back after that, he'll proc an unstoppable, which gets staggered and also removes the rod. And then once that's gone, then you are completely in control of the fight. You can parry, you can use all of your specials, and he's never going to put debuffs on you. So if for some reason I didn't want to use an advanced power boost, that is how I like to fight Annihilus. And then finally, this was sort of my signature fight in Season 28. It's Node 39 Void. And the reason this works so well for Elsa is because, as I've said before, she will passively shrug the non-damaging debuffs all fight. And additionally, by connecting one of her medium dash from the opponent with her well-timed block, you get a free intercept, which is basically a free ebb and flow intercept counter, and she's just going to do tons of damage. Her incinerates turn into cold snaps against Void, and there's really no way this fight can go south unless if you take a combo to the face. So yeah, I've taken this fight probably 5, 6, 7 times or so since I've joined SSx, and it always sort of looks like this. I think it's the smoothest counter. Again, Moleman can do it, but all it takes is building monster mass above 5 and accidentally dashing back and taking a blocked hit, sending him into frenzy, which means you no longer can shrug debuffs. To me, that's just a little scary, and I like to have the availability of the shrug all fight with Elsa, and also her damage is consistent all fight. You don't have to activate like a frenzy type mechanic to get good damage with Elsa. It just comes right out of the gate ready to hit hard. So anyway, that was my war. I'm sorry I don't have the footage of it. We ended up losing this war pretty badly. We had the situation where we were looking like we were way behind, and that's why you should never look at the scoreboard in the middle of a war, because when you see you're losing, then you may approach the fights differently, and you really need to still have the same approach, like duel, boost, do all those things when you're fighting, even if you think it's going to be a loss, because those attack bonuses do matter, and you know, for morale in the group, it's really important to keep your focus. So definite learning experience for us going up against the top 10 alliance, but I think we will do a little bit better for the rest of the season. Hopefully we're getting these bad wars out of the way early. And yeah, so the next thing I'm going to show is actually a really fun clip. My friend Tafre, who I've been playing with since I think 2018, is a real fan of Symbiote Supreme. He used him a lot back in the day, and he recently took his to rank 3. And the cool thing is that he was here for the Mag's high ground boss, but additionally we were able to path him to take some difficult fights on the path. And I'm going to show the boss solo today, but I will reference you to DLL's channel because DLL is going to do a little bit more of a showcase of some of the path fights. Because originally we were thinking, you know, that he's only good for certain bosses and that it's going to be tough to throw him on other lanes. But Tafre proved to us that there are certain fights and some difficult, like high ground type fights on the paths that Symbiote Supreme can do as well. So I do think he's going to be making more appearances, and I will steer you in that direction to see a little bit more footage. But we're going to start this clip right about now. And as you can see, he's got the Mystic Power Boosts on. I think the plan here is advanced power boost so that he can get to that special 3 faster. We were talking, do we want to do invulnerable or not? And he wasn't really planning on getting hit. So, you know, the goal is to get to the special 3 as fast as possible. So the first unstoppable was staggered, but he did not have another stagger up for that second one. If you notice the spacing there, he's able to get right in because he didn't dash back at the beginning of the special one. So he's got to deal with this one high ground charge, but he had sort of like a good play there, waiting till he gets 100 genetic potential before throwing the special 3. That's really important so that you get a lot of power back. And as you can see, he goes almost all the way up to a special 2. Staggers are up. The bleeds don't do damage, but look at those armor breaks, man. Those armor breaks are so powerful on Symbiote Supreme. So with the power back and everything and Mystic Dispersion, he's able to get all the way back to a special 3. I think ideally you want to be chaining special 2s, but obviously if you get to a special 3 with 100 genetic potential, you're in really good shape. So here comes another big special 2. Wow, 50k. So these armor breaks are doing some work, and then he's just continually getting power. It's like once he gets to a special 3, this fight is completely over. The staggers are coming up. They're nullifying, you know, the unstoppable and all the buffs. He has like infinite power. Like he's always going to have a special 2 and a special 3. Like I said, you do want to always have 100 genetic potential before throwing the special. And here we're going to see the mad finish where we got some big special 2s. It's actually good it didn't crit because now he has another special 2. There's only one high ground, so the block damage is noticeable, but it's not too bad. And boom, there we go. 3 special 2s back to back to back, and Magneto goes down. So I know Sorcerer Supreme is a very popular choice here, but it's interesting to note that the high ground damage does not get regened by her regen on block. So if you are spamming specials with her, you're probably still going to be fine. But I do think Symbiote Supreme is a faster option, and in some ways he's safer because you can just get to those special 2s and 3s so easily. So yeah, we were really excited to see this. Big shout out to Tafre for getting the boss solo for us. And that's going to do it for today. So thanks for checking out this video, guys, and hopefully the recordings don't fail next time, and we'll see you in War number 3. Take care.